Exactly.
You're fine.
So this is a video camera or digital one-stop. It's going to take pictures.
Oh, no, that's a GoPro.
Got it.
It's an altered GoPro.
Got it.
To be able to see the light.
Cool.
So you have to hook it on your head.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So now that both cameras are out, I want to kind of give that. I do the cameras first on purpose. So we're going to be going to some spaces where obviously there's going to be some cars. People are going to be walking by. People don't like to be filmed. They don't like their cars to be filmed.
Got it.
In the event that I do kind of a Andy's coming kind of mentality, obviously you're going to just be playing with a cell phone and handling it very casually.
You two are going to have to get disciplined if you don't hold still.
Got it.
So,
don't drop it.
spirit boxes. We're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. So spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So on your TV shows, in your YouTube videos, this is normally the white noise, and then your host will tell you the BS he thinks he heard, trying to convince you of the same thing because it's all garbled up. Yeah, we're going to be doing that in real time. There's another way you can actually use these. You can actually slow them down and allow the radio chatter to come through. What does that mean? The song lyrics, the DJs, the commercials. If we can make out what's actually coming through, because as you can see, those numbers are all moving. It's going through every single FM radio station right now.
Nice.
So what is it doing? If we can make out one of those song lyrics or DJs or commercials, it's a 50-50 shot that I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. The cool thing about this one specifically is that it's going to record the entire session for us, because none of you are going to hear it in real time other than the user. So with that said, you're going to have an earbud in. You're going to be.
Your earbud me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, hang on, I'm not done. She's so excited. Do you guys see why I look for my chatty Cathy? So.
Watch it, Nick. Be careful, Nick.
Where are you going to find me in the encyclopedia again?
I said if you're in the encyclopedia, we have a problem.
So, this is not going to record any outside noise. It's only going to record the radio sweep. So you can turn the volume up and down as you want to. It's not going to mess with the recording at all. So you're going to crank it because you need to know where the volume is.
Okay.
So the volume is right here. It's a wheel.
Yep.
Okay. So when I turn it all the way down, you're going to unscrew, fasten your earbuds here. Most people use just one.
Right.
And I don't want them back because your earwax is gross.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I buy them in bulk.
Good. I needed some earbuds. Too bad I'm taking the other piece too,
They're
buddy.
cheap 50 centers.
These guys are taking the cameras too. You're hostage now.
I can run pretty quick. Alright, so I do use two of these. So the second one will not record. So I'm going to have to rely on that person in real time of what they're actually hearing. So with that, I do carry a little notebook with me because some of these devices I don't want them to record. So again, I have to kind of keep notes. So you'll get all of the notes of the things that happen in real time on top of the things that I find tomorrow morning. So with that, I think I'm going to hand this one off to you, Carla. So your volume is right here. It's a wheel. You can play with that. You'll just have to undo the earbuds right there. I keep calling them headphones. Shows my age, right?
Did you find the radio right? No. It's not going to pick it up.
Screen went out. It's because you broke it.
Oh, it's not the first time.
Is this tied in or not, or what?
You got to put another quarter in the side.
I can't see.
Did I touch a button or something?
You must have slid something. It is a regular cell phone.
Yeah,
Just a specific type that can actually handle that camera. So the next spirit box works a lot differently. We don't actually have to listen to anything. It's going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. So basically, where those three dots are, we're going to see terms come up, just like an ovulus, if you're familiar with the TV shows. It's going to save all of those words into a list. My last group, we actually had quite a bit. We had 102 terms show up that night.
Wow.
So I'm going to clear out that history, and we're going to start us off fresh. What I like about that word list is that it gives me timestamps. So 80% of this, I'm just going to put it out there, it's going to be bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. This is a phone app. It's meant to try to scare people. So the other 5 to 20%, again, I'm going to give you the full list, but it's the other 5 to 20% that I'm going to be able to tie to the location, a person, one of you. Obviously, I'll tell you why it's relevant, and then give you the backlink to be able to verify it.
Okay, I downloaded that app before we went to dinner, and I had it on, and when you were talking, it came up writing, and you're a writer.
Oh, my.
You also have Landon on there. My daughter's name is London.
Crazy.
Just putting that up there.
Wow.
So this is, now, you have probably the free version?
Yeah, exactly. I just downloaded
So your version has about 2,000 terms in it.
Am I supposed to have a radio on?
Mine has 9,168.
Wow.
and I didn't add anything to it. It's just the upgraded version. So yeah, you'll have the radio stations coming through. You're listening for those DJs and song lyrics.
So that is a true thing. Okay. So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if that's...
She was making fun of me, thinking I was crazy. We're in the restaurant. It's popping things up.
I love this. I've been using this thing for years.
Cool.
Alicia, I think that one's going to go to you right here.
What's the name of that app?
Ghost Hunting Tools.
That's the name of the app is Ghost Hunting
You
Tools.
turn the wheel the other way.
Just
Oh, it's just changing radio.
That's what I wanted to do.
Oh.
I don't want to find Bob. I don't want to find my father. I don't know.
Well, she controls the volume. So that wheel,
Hello?
where your thumb is,
Yeah.
turn it the other way.
No, it's the book. It's changing the channel.
Yeah. So this next spirit box works completely different. I told you all these spirit boxes work a little bit differently than the next one. So this one is relatively new as well. I've had it for about 6 or 7 weeks now. So this is going to sweep through the FM and the AM radio stations at the same time. So the white noise that the two ladies are listening to with their earbuds, it's trying to eliminate that and only give us voices from time to time. So far this guy's been about 75% accurate, but it's only been giving us about 10 to 12 actual terms and phrases for a 2-hour tour. But out of those 10 to 12 terms, 75% of them are dead on, spot on, accurate. So I'm going to mute this guy for right now, Miss Karen. So this one's going to be yours.
Okay.
So
Don't
the
drop
only thing
it.
you need to worry about is the mute button because it is open air. So
Okay.
the mute button is the only button on the right-hand side. Obviously the lights are going to be at the top,
Okay.
but on the right there's a button right where my finger is. So get
Okay.
used to where that's where
Okay,
that
And
is.
you can put it around your wrist too, so you
Right
don't drop
there,
it.
the round button right there.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's on mute, and I did that purposely because sometimes it can be distracting because I'm kind of gonna, trying to go through things.
Okay.
So I'll say let's go ahead and mute that one, or I'll say let's turn it up and let's see what happens.
Okay.
That's basically.
He's checking out the temperature of everybody walking by.
Your hot stuff.
I love it.
We just told you that.
Why, that's one cold place.
I'm sorry.
Which glad you know where your long guns.
You're gonna be my multitasker.
Okay. You give it to the worst one.
You'll be fine.
Oh, yours.
Dave's got our back.
So EMF detectors, you guys have probably seen these guys on television,
Yes.
right? The little
Yes.
blinky lights. So this is a new upgraded version too, by the way. We're just not going to use it tonight. The only upgrade to it is that it's supposed to buzz when it actually goes off. It doesn't buzz to where we can actually hear it outside. It was a wasted extra $10. And the only reason I had to buy a new one is because some little kid dropped mine like 20 times last week, and the back was falling off. Oh yeah, all the time. Why? Because they're the ones that want to go. They show up in Ghostbuster outfits.
Yeah.
So
That's
back
cool.
to my devices.
Disturbed.
So this is called a millimeter. This is going to do 3 different functions. It's going to measure electromagnetic fields. So that means things from your cell phone, from wiring, from buildings, also changes in spirit activity. So anything above 2.5 on the big numbers, I want to know what's going on. So that way I can kind of debunk it or see what, if we actually have something or not. The bottom number is going to give us ambient temperature. So
Okay.
Daniel over here finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk it pretty quickly with this yellow probe at the top.
Right.
So the last thing that it has is it has a motion sensor in it. It's called a REM pod. So basically if something gets close to that antenna, it's going to go off. The closer it gets, the higher the pitch. Obviously there's an array of color in there. So we're going to talk more about that at our next location. I'm going to turn it off for now.
Okay.
So that way all you have to do is focus on your numbers.
Focus on my numbers.
You got it.
What am I focusing on?
What was the number?
Walking.
2.5?
So
1 foot in
try
front of the
pull
other.
one out. There you go. So that way you can hear both of us. So you're listening for song lyrics, DJs, and commercials to be able to come through. And if you can make out what they're saying, for example, if it says buy a Kia today, I
Right.
want to know that you heard buy a Kia today.
Okay.
Does that make sense now?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Should we turn our phones off? Will
No.
that interfere with you?
Nope, not at all. You guys all have families, and emergencies do happen, so keep them on.
Okay.
So let's talk about why we started here. So I also want to point out, Chatty Cathy's, when they get a spirit box, when's the last time Miss Donna has said anything?
She's listening.
Over here, buddy. I'm waiting for
Have a
Stairway
chocolate.
to Heaven on this friggin' radio, if you want to know what I mean. Peter Frampton, is he coming on?
That's the
Okay,
ghost.
well,
He's
I'm
like,
waiting.
No, I'm
on my
older
dead
than I
voice.
look.
Come
Okay.
on. Let's
I'm a
hear it.
grandfather. We'll just put that out.
Oh,
there.
wow. Good for
no
you.
way.
Good
Started
for
off
you.
a young
I
man.
don't believe
No,
it.
actually I didn't.
Were you 10 or what?
Nope. All right, so Big John's behind me. There's a reason why we started here. So obviously you guys were all talking about the established 1955 and wow, what a new building. But this is actually a renovation of the old Big John's that was originally established in 1955. There was plenty of things in between, but it is now the new old Big John's, if that makes sense. But anyway, this place used to be owned and started by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. So, with that said, this was his place. He used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. And one night, two guys come in. They're not old enough to drink. So he has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty pissed off, and they come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on. He slams down his beer. He gets up and beats the hell out of these guys. Just starts pounding them right to the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. John gets up after being back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor in an ambulance. Yes, you just cocked your head like, really? Seriously? So here's the irony of the story. Nobody died in that story. I just told you this place is haunted, yet nobody actually died here. So what's haunting the place? The bullet hole is allegedly still here. Even if it's not after the renovation of the Big John's we're now staring at, Big John's blood is in this building. People that sit in the front of this building tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. A lot of my guests will go there for dinner before meeting with me, and a lot of times they tell me they had a great steak, but they couldn't finish it because they felt sick to their stomach. Where did you sit? In the front of the bar. Now you know why. This is your heated warning. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight, and I do not know how it's going to affect any of you because we're not close like that yet. However, if anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. It is a very big deal. Obviously, safety first at all times. That way we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. Is that fair?
Fair enough.
Fair.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So 911 is a joke.
But how can blood? The blood has the energy.
It's the negative energy from the fight.
Oh,
It's his bar.
Yes.
And you're going to find that raised emotion, no matter what it is, whether it's love, trauma, death, is usually what stirs up paranormal activity.
Okay.
So
But you can clear that. It can be cleared. There's energy.
it can, but again, he's not looking to harm anybody. It's not.
It's that karma every time.
It's honestly, it's just raised EMF. The only time I've ever gotten EMF inside that building, other than the wiring, obviously, is in the front of that building. So again, it's one of those instances where it can happen.
It's like a tape recorder.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that again later. Wow, you guys are really jumping the gun on me on almost
I'm
everything.
sorry.
He told me a story, but he failed to tell me about like.
We have Ezekiel now.
Oh, really?
They got a
So what story did he tell you?
Well, he told me everything you
It's
said.
like you didn't know
That
what
there was a fight,
It's,
and that
these are words that are coming
that was
from.
kind of it. And he told me how much they
There's
respect
like
the
thousands of
cadets.
them.
The cadets.
Cadets.
Or they
And
put it in him
obviously
and
what
it's
they
like,
do, and then he mentioned that
and what's coming up
they're old enough to fight for your country. That
I got
they
over
deserve to
those
be old
phone
enough to
numbers.
drink beer. So
They
Give them beer even
they
if
give
they're
them
not
beer
old.
even if they're not old
Fair
enough. But they
If
won't let
somebody
them.
always pays their tab.
They won't let them get drunk.
Nick, so it says like Ezekiel inside.
I don't know who that is.
That,
And inside is too vague for me to be able to determine anything unless it's going to referencing
It is
inside of the book.
Ezekiel bread.
it's going to record everything. I don't have the jump out
No.
or whatever.
So let's continue on because we have a lot to cover here, guys. So
Alright, let's do
same building. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't already know that from another Charleston history tour, now you do. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. A piece of the mantle you see in the middle of the building actually wraps around the front as well. A piece of it broke off during that earthquake, struck somebody in the back of the head, and they say it killed them, and you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. So I always have to get that one out even though I just brought it up again. So now we're going to get rolling. So we're going to actually go this way. Donna's leading the way again.
Oh.
I keep hearing it.
Everybody to kind of think of your time with me as kind of a ghost hunting 101. This is a very brief stop. Notice how my voice already changed and it dropped. This is where we keep the horses for the carriage rides. So they are already sleeping. I don't want to disrupt anything, which is why we use earbuds with spirit boxes now. So pairing yours is definitely going to stay on mute, at least in the space that we're going through. This is the time we're going to spend here. So I keep everything simple. We're going to progress throughout the night. This one is a simple spot, and then you're going to learn more about your devices at the next base and so forth and so on. By the last stop, I pretty much let you guys have free reign. This is where we kept the horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's all the history I got, 1860s to 1920s. So let's talk about those spirit boxes. What do we have? 4 on plate tonight? 5. 4. So, sorry, I have 6. So I just have to stop the count and see how many I actually got at. So we have 4 in play tonight. Spirit boxes. This is not a Ouija board. This is not television. This is not somebody here.
Right.
Reason being is because if somebody answers no, that means somebody's here, right? So we're not going to be getting like actual paranormal proof from yes or no questions. You will not be asking yes or no questions at all tonight. There's always a way to reword the question. For example, I would normally tell my folks, ask questions in a space like this when you're getting used to a device of something you already know the answer to. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we're going to be looking and listening for the color red because we're using, obviously, Felicia has the word list. So, keep in mind that 3 out of the 4 spirit boxes are using DJs and song lyrics to convey messages back to us. The word red might not be available to them. However, blood, fire truck, heart, these 3 things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer as, what color is the big red barn? Blood. I'm good with that. However, most of the night, I'm going to require that there is something else to verify what's actually going on.
Just to clarify, you said the big red barn.
Yes.
The big barn or the big red?
Barn.
Big red?
Big red.
What color is the big red barn?
Red.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because then I say it's red.
Right.
Okay.
Instead of yes.
Instead of
Got it,
somebody
got it.
here, yes,
Okay.
or no.
Okay.
Because the
Well, I was thinking of the closed barn. Okay, I get it. Okay.
want to go after something we know the answer to.
Got it. Okay.
Example of a verification, so everything is kind of crystal clear. If Felicia has the word art on her word list, it doesn't mean anything by itself. Carla, here's the number 40. That doesn't mean anything by itself. You put them together. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you see where I have to put all these pieces together?
Yeah.
This is about putting clues together. We're going to be talking a lot about 1700s and 1800s. All these dudes have the same name, Charles, George, and you name it. We need to know who the hell we're talking to. So I always look for that secondary clue. Like I said, the word inside was really vague. You're going to hear that out of my mouth a lot tonight. It's really vague. I'm going to discount it, and it's not anything else unless something else coincides with it when I'm reviewing tomorrow morning. So again, I still look at every single term. You do. So let's talk about the cameras. Let's kind of get those out of play. So again, with yours, it's going to be very hard to try to hide it if I do an Andy's coming type mentality. I'll usually say act casual, and that's when you're going to basically point it to the ground. Again, you're working with a lot of light, so go ahead and point it at me. We're not working with lasers tonight with this guy, so really the only thing you need to know is if you accidentally brush it against your leg, it's going to blind me.
Okay.
We're working with night vision.
Got it.
So we're not going to work with night vision. Why? Because that brings the attention from the other tourists. I already told you they already don't like me, and they like to come over to you and say, what's he got you doing now? You know that stuff is fake. Like they try to debunk stuff for me all the time without me knowing it.
Okay.
So we don't even bother with it.
Got it.
Everything else is perfectly running. There's a battery pack keeping everything charged.
Okay.
So basically, nice slow movements, the easier it is to watch things.
Blind bad. This is good.
Yes,
Got
it. Your camera. So you're going to go ahead and point that guy. Well, you're going to try to do 2 things. You're going to try to keep one of us in view at all times. I know I told you don't point it at people. I mean people outside of us. The reason being is because we're going to be the warmest thing out here. So we want that array of color. So again, we're literally going to be 97 and 99 degrees where it's 72 to 74 degrees ambient temperature. So we want that array of color. It's much easier to see cold spots moving when we have a big range of color. Otherwise, go ahead and point it at that wall for me and watch what happens to the wall. It should turn red. Keep it there. Watch what happens to the wall. See how it turned blue? So again, we want that array of color. It's much easier to see things. The other thing you're going to try to do is try to keep the sky out. I know it's going to be difficult at times. That blue dot is going to default to the sky if it's in view, just because it's looking for a surface and there's nothing there. So again, some of these places it's going to be impossible. Just be used. But again, nice slow movements out of both cameras should make some really great videos for all of us to watch after tomorrow. So again, I think I got everybody covered except for the motion meter, which we're going to talk about more at the next space. So, spirit boxes, have you guys heard anything coming out at all? I know Karen hears
I'm not telling you.
Why?
No, that's
I
how
need
it's
something
so
for free.
free.
He said staticky on here. I'm getting something for free.
What do you mean?
I don't know. This
fucking thing keeps going to a station that's telling me that it's free.
Every once in a while, here's something.
There's somebody.
What's free? What are they giving you?
Shell and then there's something in the back.
Did it say with?
No, I listen to them every morning.
But I'm trying to listen.
And again, some people just have a hard time with it, which is perfectly fine. And again, I can always see what else we can come up with if you're going to have, that much of a struggle with it. Like, we're going to try one more space. If after that point you're still not getting anything out of it because it's just moving too fast, it's as slow as I can make it at this point. So we'll just get you something else to play with.
Should she be listening for something
Like a word.
Relative to what she's hearing now?
So again, I'm always going to give you clues whenever we're at these locations. So over there was 47, New York, Giants, Big John, anything like that. Any of those terms come up. Over here, it's obviously red.
So somewhere
And I said delivery, milk, horses, anything relatable to that. But again, so even at the next space, I'm going to start with full information purpose.
They go shows where
So
they
that
show up
way,
on
you're
the
not going
infrared
to know
camera, spectral
more
camera.
other than the questions I'm going to give you.
Check me out. I get a lot of orbs coming
How
over
many
me.
times? I can't see you.
That's the radio station.
Twice.
All right, let's go.
It's free twice. Oh, really?
Oh, I get it.
So that's why it's okay to consider the volume. Focus on Now you're getting the gist. That's
First thing I'm getting.
awesome.
I'm just getting something.
So, welcome to another beautiful site of Charleston, everybody. It's a parking lot. Yay! This space used to be something, which is why we're here. This place used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this lot facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across. And then Eliza's servants and slaves, their quarters were in the back of this space. So who the heck were these people? Eliza, well, first off, Spirit Box, I am not going to give you questions like you know the answers to, like color of these white horse. Like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from the Spirit Boxes. Again, genuine experience, right? No subliminal messaging. So with that said, Charles and Eliza got married. Hang on, let me take a step backwards. Donna's got me all twisted up here.
I didn't say a word.
I
I'm
know,
still
that was the
listening. I'm
point.
just
That's what
getting
threw me
free
off.
shit. That's all I know.
Eliza,
That's all I know is I'm getting free shit. I'm good.
Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. You guys see why I look for secondary clues now? The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution. It's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics more than you, so let's move on. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, the answer will not be 12 and 14, just so you know. The reason I bring this up is because Charles was over double her age when they married. So pretty big age gap between the two of them. Now, they got married because her father, over in England, thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all of his children one last time. He was trying to bring Eliza back home to England from here. She didn't want to go, and she didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put. Now, this is 1744. There's no such thing as marrying for a green card or citizenship. Not even a country yet. So again, she married Charles out of love, and did remain a widow even after his death, before he got into England first. That being said, father got better, and he started sending her gifts over from England to this space right where we're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been here for more than an hour. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise you. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes your blue jeans blue. That's how we still use it today. She didn't know what to do with these seeds when she got them, so she learned from her slaves how to keep it cultivated, then moves it to a plantation just north of here, calls her dad and says, rice plantations are going to hell, we can make a ton of money with this indigo. Now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times, something absolutely unheard of. That's Eliza's business. Let's get into the weird shit, because that's why you guys are all here. So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza, back-to-back, same year to Charles. First wife Eliza dies. 5 months later, he marries the one who plants the indigo. It's either really smart or really stupid, depending on how you look at it, fellas. So, with that said, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. I don't think I have to explain what a maiden name is to this group. This is going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot of little things you're going to hear me joke about. The teenagers have no idea what a maiden name is. They think it's the middle name. Yeah, it happens all the time.
Wow.
So if you want to ask, see which Eliza we're dealing with, ask the maiden name. So far, we're dealing with 3 Charleses and 2 Elizas, just so we can keep count. There's going to be more commonalities coming up. The children, I told you there's at least one. His name was Charles, right? Signer of the Constitution. There are more. You can ask how many and their names. That's it. Why? Because there's a tragedy among those children. If we poke the bear, all activity will stop. So if we have any readings going on at all, it'll see it. So again, that includes any readings we're going to get off the EMF meter at all. They will go down to 0 and all activity will stop and we won't.
He's running the muff meter.
The mansion's not here anymore.
Running the muff meter?
EMF.
No, muff.
No, EMF.
It's malicious. Nick, I'm making a joke.
I know.
I was trying to be funny, Muff, get
The
it?
mansion's not here anymore. You can ask what happened to it and what year that happened. Obviously, those are not yes or no questions. Eliza's death is where things get really open. You can ask her how old she was when she died, what did she die from, where she's buried, and what U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, these are all very specific questions. Well, it depends on what you want to focus on. I gave you a lot of topics, and we don't know exactly who's here. So, I'm not going to reveal those answers until we're ready. You're the one with the spirit box, but unmuted.
Karen, come on,
You're
Karen.
not laughing.
Yeah,
You're not laughing at you.
she's a rookie.
It's just that
I'm gonna have to find me another Karen to replace her.
This is why you
thing's
guys
gonna
need to
start
get around.
going, and I don't know what the hell's happening.
Okay, so hang on. Let's everybody.
Eliza, what U.S. president was your pallbearer? Just say it again, Eliza.
And again, you're only going to hear about 10 to 12 terms tonight total. 2 hours time. That's all you're going to hear. So I'm going to
report, right?
No, we're going to rely on you.
Yes.
With that said, I got something else to do at this site. We're going to be using what I call a trigger object. What's a trigger object? It's going to hopefully stir up some more activity. I have a vial of indigo seeds. You're going to handle this. You're going to keep it with you while you're trying to get answers out of it. Hopefully this has been the most effective switch up. I just got this. That's something we keep trying. Just need to be very careful. The card going to spread out in this lot. We're going to spend about 8 to 10 minutes here based on the amount of activity. If we get a lot, obviously we'll stay close to it. Yeah, we have a lot of states to go to. So we're riding the hill, but I'm going to try to go. So yeah, let's spread out, stay away from the vehicles, and let's have some fun. Stay within the confines of this lot because we're bouncing around the ball and we're right behind you all hunch down. If you need some food,
What is that, Felicia? Oh, yeah, bring that.
you're going to be filming nice and slow, listening in. If you want to take the other earbud from her and stick close to her, that way you guys can actually listen in together, you can do that. A lot of times couples will do that. You can pull it. Yeah, just spread it apart. This works. There you go. There you go. Perfect. They have 50 centers. That's why I buy them. Most of the building. Again, it's all about those little tiny terms that are going to come through.
Do you recommend focusing on the individuals to see if there's or just
For
scan the
you,
parking?
It's all about scatter.
Okay.
Like how much
Got it.
footage, slow footage can you get us?
Okay. Cool.
So this space with that camera, like I love the fact that there's 10 IR lights on here. Before, like the last camera wasn't picking up all of them. It was weird.
Okay.
And it used to lock up. So that's why I upgraded everything. But I
Got it.
love that the whole screen is purple, because now I can see every orb that comes by. I can debunk bugs pretty quickly.
Cool.
Like it's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
But yeah, nice slow movements.
Slow, steady.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, even if you want to stay close by, yours does record audio as well, so you might pick up what's going on with her spirit box.
Understood.
So
Okay,
seems
cool.
like you guys have a pretty good gist on this.
We watch a lot of shows, but like you said, half the time it's probably BS anyways on
Most
the show.
of it, but
so,
at least
yeah.
you know what the devices are.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was so cool. Yep. Yeah.
How's that working out for both of you listening?
Yeah, well, I hear it static and so I should be concentrating on the background. Whatever voice comes, if I can make out what's saying.
I haven't gotten anything. How's your work?
Actually, we were correct classes. This was right now. Indication.
So we can see. Eliza, what U.S. president was your father? Eliza. Eliza, how old were you when you died?
Eliza, what was indigo's purpose in the United States? What was it used for?
I can't make anything out.
sounded like she said one.
I thought she said none.
Oh, none or one,
I
yeah.
heard one, but yeah.
Gone.
Maybe she's gone. You catching anything there?
I can't tell, the screen's so small, so
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get, he goes, he'll catch orbs and stuff around people, so I'm trying to get around
Do
all
you
the
have
people.
any questions for Eliza? Ask her, Eliza, what U.S. president was your pallbearer?
Eliza, I'm very impressed that you're a good business person. What was the business that you went into?
I haven't followed up with you yet. What's going on? Have you heard anything?
No, just a bunch of static.
They asked how many children she had, and either
I've
none
got
or
one
one
or
came
nine.
across.
Well, we know there's at least one, and I told you there are more.
Right.
So now you know that both of those are
Okay.
false.
Okay, from the first Eliza.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
And then
I know, I throw a lot of information.
I asked her many times who the U.S. president was that was her pallbearer, and haven't gotten a response.
What was that?
This is very hard to hear. It's all static.
Yeah,
All
bad
of them
hearing.
It's all static to me.
Stop patient.
I think we're just here in a Bible station.
Any readings coming up out of there, Sharon?
Yeah, nobody's standing.
No, not at all. Oh, I'm sorry.
How's your camera going? You should see it reset at like every 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes. It'll
Oh.
start a new file.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
I splice them all together so you guys have one video to
Okay.
watch.
Do I need to read, or you'll do it?
No,
You
I
said
mean,
reset.
oh no, it automatically does it.
Oh, got it. So,
Yeah, because
okay.
it only creates files up to 4 gigs.
Got it.
So once
Yeah.
it reaches 4 gigs, it resets to a new file.
Oh, okay.
And I
okay.
just, like, on my way home, I set it up and it's already splicing it all together.
Cool.
Yeah,
So I just keep doing what I do and
Yep.
don't have to worry about it.
I may say, let's go ahead and stop it, and that's the button right here.
Got it. Okay.
So once we leave this space, we're going to go like 3 blocks away. There's
Stop
no
it
point.
during the
Yeah.
3 blocks, okay.
You got it.
This thing's lighting up.
Colors you got?
It went up to 3. second one is Eliza, please use any of the devices that we have here to communicate with us. They went all the way up to the store.
There it is.
Right there.
Hi, Eliza. Make something nice, loud, and clear on one of these boxes. We're having a little bit of trouble with these boxes tonight. You gotta make things nice and clear. We're particularly interested in the president that was the pallbearer at your funeral. Can you tell us who that was? Use any of the boxes. We know we don't care. Or if you could just get close to this box with the lights on it, make it go to red. Make it go all the way to red for us. You know how these boxes work.
We've heard white dress, we've heard increase, we've heard Charleston.
Charleston I take out just because you're listening to Charleston radio. So white dress, and what was the other one?
Increase.
One more quick round robin and then I'll pull us all together so we didn't get
Eliza, do you like
I'm gonna pull us
classical
over to the
music?
wall. Let's get you guys these answers. The mid-range. You got like
crazy to purple.
purple.
Yeah. Now,
We
but the
get a lot
highest,
of blue here.
the highest number I got was 8.3.
What was it?
8.3 was the highest number. And it's gone to purple a lot.
And we've gotten the 15 milligauss. I did bring out the K2 meter, so that way they kind of had an extra one. We're struggling with these pair boxes a little bit. So we did get a 15. I'm seeing some blue show up there. So we can go ahead. Let's kill these videos. Go ahead and hit the red square on your screen, and then you're good.
Okay, cool.
Nice and easy.
I think we're in an alley.
Quiet area, so we're gonna keep it down.
You want it on now, right?
Yep.
And I've almost hit two people, like, you know, not on purpose, but I mean, like, because I'm slicing that head, and I'm, you know, and I'm like, yeah.
I know.
Yes, we're in the Bible, but that's the one that Baptist
Hi, Ben.
We're gonna get into it.
I heard it, Ben.
Alright, so we're definitely gonna put doors on mute because we're in a quiet area. There's little tiny signs all over because we're next to a hotel. So again, we're not gonna spend a lot of time here, but what other names did we hear besides Ben? I'm so stoked. I'm gonna explain why in a moment.
Acts,
Axe.
A-X-E, and
Well, yours is on the list.
She doesn't live in here. Worship,
Okay.
you. And it wasn't all together.
Okay. We're getting close to St. Philip's. It's pretty common to get religious terms around church because it is our tallest peak. So let's talk about this space. So when we crossed over that last crosswalk where we were waiting on that Uber girl to let her person out, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. So you're inside the original Charlestown city. Charleston was called Charlestown, the walled city. It was fortified with this giant brick wall around it. This is one of the first streets we ever had, which is why I like to bring you down here. Not a lot of tours like to come down here. I don't know why, but I absolutely love it because it's perfect for what we are doing. They're trying to tell like blue tag stories and whatever down here. We're going to get into the actual history. So,
When we were at that intersection, this thing went 4 lines up.
yeah, it's because of the crosswalk.
Oh.
The electrical lines are underneath the sidewalks. That's why I said ignore your readings. You're not reading it. It's false positives. So people used to live down here. There's 2 giant buildings, one up here. So little tiny shopping houses. So again, people lived here. And when I say people lived here, I'm not talking like 4 to 6 people at a time. So let's tell you why I was asking you for names. I have the full list of residents of every single person that's ever lived down here. It's not a lengthy list. It's about 2 pages long. It breaks it up by what their job was, and what year they lived here. The 2 names I commonly get, Benjamin and John. Now, here's where things get a little weird. So, both Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. There were 4 different Johns that lived in Lodge Alley over like a 70-year time span. If we need to know which one it is, that specific John will often give us his last name, which is Johnson. Yes, his name was John Johnson. There's a lot of common like double names in this area. So Alexander, that kind of thing. But Benjamin and John come up every 6 to 7 weeks. Yeah, that's probably from the building getting into. So again, when it's steady like that, it's still a rhythm. So again, we don't look for rhythms. It's all about the erraticism of it. But Benjamin and John, every once in a while I get a 3rd name that comes up. That name is Jane. I have nothing significant about 1801 that happened down here, other than I get the same names every 6 to 7 weeks. We are still within that 6 to 7 weeks, even though I had both Benjamin and John show up last week. It's not uncommon to hear them more than once. With that Benjamin that showed up last week, the name Simmons came up with it in the same voice. So it said Ben Simmons. This used to be called Simmons Alley before Lodge Alley. So I was like, a holy shit moment. I was pretty stoked. But the fact that we heard Ben, again, I didn't say Ben at any point in time tonight, so it's not a subliminal message. So great job on you. I'm stoked for that. That's like the best thing we've gotten so far. Now, they did do an archaeological dig underneath these bricks. They found some of these people's tools, their silverware, their clothing, that kind of thing. They classify them as lower class. It makes sense. The other side of the wall, they're on the other side of East Bay Street, which means the small boat tide will be coming through here quite often. The rich of Charleston are not going to put up with that. So if you notice down back where the houses are sitting in front and they go long backwards, that way for 2 reasons. First off, it helps keep the small boat tide from coming into the home. We have houses here. It's front porch to the door. Basically, the small boat tide stops it from going in. So when you open up the 2nd story, on the floor, the top story, and actually the floor drops and rises. It's going to air conditioning.
Hey, I don't know.
Because you were taxed based on how much street side you took. Skinning your house means less taxes. So, the empty mansion that I just showed you outside the city walls and this garage that makes the streets on purpose. And families have money to give a damn about taxes. There are politicians like any of their office. They had money to use gladiators to be able to show off their house. I just had to point that out because somebody tried to call me out on it. The empty house that was all the way across the street. Yeah, but they were rich. They're there.
They like to brag that they have money.
Right, exactly. The more people live here, the Freemasons have a Masonic lodge here, hence the name Lodge Alley. We do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons from time to time. I can't put a spin on it, on this whole loop thing that I'm getting, and I'll explain that here in a moment, but we do get things like Freemasons, Masons. I've even heard Illuminati quite a few times down here. First off, who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio? And that's what's coming through. Second off, why am I only hearing it when I'm in this space? I'm just going to put it out there. Here's why I think I'm hearing those names on a loop every 6 to 7 weeks. You're standing on Belgian blocks. These are made straight from granite. Now, if you know anything about the paranormal, you've heard the term limestone before. Limestone is straight from the earth. It's said to stir up activity. This is also straight from the earth, but it's been here for a couple of 100 years. It's hanging on to the consciousness of the memories and basically spitting it back to us every 6 to 7 weeks through electronics, it's called the stone tape theory. It's kind of like that loop that you had mentioned earlier, same principle. So again, stone tape theory, there's a lot of proof behind it. I'm hoping that I can hopefully add this to that, to other scientists that have actually studied this before. This is a very interesting alley, and I can't put an exact pinpoint on the days that I'm going to hear Benjamin and John coming out of spirit boxes. So, very interesting space indeed.
It'd be hard not to come here like constantly.
Every night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do every night.
Yeah,
Waiting.
wow.
And I keep track of moon phases. I keep track of where are we at in the loop, that kind of thing. Yeah, we are in that, like, this is like the 7th week of that 67 week from the last time that I got pretty strong approach we did tonight. So we are going to go to another alley. However, I cannot give you fluids. That's what we're doing now. We got pointy lights and flashing lights and all that kind of stuff. So it is considered residential at the end. So I'm going to explain more on how I got fluid out of there. Because yes, I did get kicked out. Once we go and see the space. However, us talking about it and discussing it outside of the space will stirs up a lot of activity, and we will get activity from that space through the working of that space on. So we're not going to go very far from there. There's a lot more to go on, but again, we still get a lot of food relative to that space as we get closer to that alley and the rest of that weekend. So as we exit the alley, we're going to stop all video. We're going to be running through the neighborhoods as we get to that next alley. So you know where your report button is, you know where yours is. Spirit boxes, obviously I want you to continue to listen. And yours, we can go ahead and use yours, Karen, as well. Like, we're going to keep it on. Yeah, we can go ahead and unmute it until we get to the next space. Robert. I think it's 2 Roberts that we're down here. I don't have it fully memorized, so I always look into it. But I'm going to give you that full list.
Shout out a name.
But you're going to see that full list. I'm going to give you the link so you guys can check it out for yourself. Because again, obviously the name band is pretty
That's pretty impressive.
So, let's go through the rest of this alley and see what we capture. You don't need to stop it yet. I want you, like, actually the videos, if you want to, if you want to hang back for like 5 to 10 seconds and just get a view of the empty alley, as we go exit, we're going to go across the street and make a right. So we go left, I get a ticket because there's an empty. So we're not going to do that, right? All right, let's go this way. Robert was British, right?
Where's your phone?
It's hard to tell on such a little screen.
It's very cold and dark above, above you.
It just went away.
And it just went away.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was very cold. I have my hair standing up on my ears.
Look into these old buildings. Oh, where'd they go? Oh. Where'd they go?
She was on the list. I don't have to write that one down. And you said 3?
I don't know if it's free or 3.
Okay. I always write down both because you just never know. I don't know that either one of those terms is relative to this, so we'll kind of see what happens. All right. I'm going to give you a sitting spot the next chance.
Oh, good.
Over here, like the cars get really close. Like you're going to end up getting hit. I'm not joking.
Do you want to sit?
Okay,
There's a little ledge right here.
You can sit back
Okay.
here.
Let's do that.
I'll move.
Again, safety always is a major concern.
Don't let me.
Yeah, the next spot is actually a sitting spot. You guys get the chills.
Seemed like it was a really cold spot back there in the alley after everybody backed out when he was still in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just above him. I don't know the distance, but it was.
I'll definitely take a look.
And
It
then
was. It was very dark blue. It's not close to
it
black.
was getting closer to him.
Yeah, they got bigger and bigger. I didn't point it up high or nothing. It was just in the distance.
Just straight on. So if we have something growing, that's obviously something I'll be able to catch. Granted, you were recording. So, and they were recording all the time. All right, so the space behind me, this is Philadelphia Alley now. It used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. That's one of the reasons why we stopped here. We named it Philadelphia Alley after dueling became illegal and stupid, and we named it after one of the cities that saved us from one of our many fires that I just got through. So I don't know which one specifically. There's a plaque down there that'll probably tell you which one. But we all tell the story. By the way, video cameras. People will be walking by. We're going to be very discreet with cameras.
Okay.
As you know, basically not YouTubers. So
Turn them off.
he's like, I don't care. I'm going to film everybody. Love it. But anyway. The other tours actually go down this alley like halfway because that's as far as we're allowed to go. So, again, things afloat. Anne back home in Ireland is kind of a badass. They say when she was like 10 or 12 years old, she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. Sorry, Karen, now I'm killing you. So, who did I shoot in the knee earlier? Is that Donna? Yeah, I shot you anyway. So I'm killing 2 people. But anyway, I want you to keep that mentality of Anne as I'm telling you the rest of this story so you guys know what kind of person she is. Now we're going to fast forward. This building's done in 13, 17, 15. Pirates are coming through town. Anne's pretty stoked. She's going to fall in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bonny. Kind of see where this is going already. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, the most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. Her career started right where we're standing. Now, when I get down there, James Bonny is not the swashbuckling, rum-drinking Captain Jack Sparrow that everybody hopes for, right, when they're marrying a pirate. This guy's a privateer. He's basically a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. This is not who she wanted. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2. I'm going to keep track for you. Guy number 2 turns out to be John Racco, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Yes, it's the same Jack that Jack Sparrow is actually based off of. And Jack has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on the crew. Girls curse pirate ships. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender, you could be a female in my quarters. He's the captain. That's the way it's going to go. She's okay with this cross-dressing because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy to keep her away from his wife back home in Ireland. She's like, all right, I'm a pirate. Let's do this. Let's put 2 and 2 together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure it out, right? So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later. These are friends of mine, they'll help you out. She goes and has the baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. She's also dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty mad. She doesn't give a damn about hiding her gender anymore. While she was away giving birth to her, firstborn, Jack captured another pirate crew and they're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack was captured. 2 females now on the same ship doing the exact same thing. Yes, I practiced that in front of the mirror. So, this young lady's name is Mary Reed. Now, she convinces Mary to become part of the crew. Now they're friends, possibly lovers. We'll never know for sure. Because, of course, there's always that speculation. And the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. They're obviously going to get taken. As they're being arrested by the British, she looks at her bow and captain, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here quite often.
That's cold.
Now, the judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. My name shows up here for several reasons, but this one in particular, especially when we have other terms relative to Anne. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly by themselves after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken sailors that wouldn't come up and fight. So Anne and Mary go in front of the judge. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. They're trying to save themselves. They're still pirates in his eyes. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies. It was the last thing they said to the judge, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail. Delays the hanging. I know the story gets long. You're looking at me like, man, the guy goes on forever.
I'm waiting. No.
Wait for the big hurrah.
Right. I'm taking it in.
She goes back to jail, but Dad is still here in Charleston with his Irish money. He was an attorney back home in Ireland. He bails her out. She remarries. That's husband number 2, guy number 4. Has 4 children and dies at the age of 84. Told you, all my stories end abruptly with death. What happened to Mary Reed, you might ask? She died in 1721 in the Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. It was probably scurvy, some bumpy and gross, and whatever else you want to come up with. I have to think about it, unfortunately, every single night. So two things on purpose for you spirit box folks, because you already know what you're, asking, non-yes or no questions. But I did leave out the name of Calico Jack's ship. You can ask what that is, and the name of Anne Bonny's parents purposely. I know them for a fact because there's not many facts about Anne Bonny. So that would obviously be the father and the mistress if you want to ask what the parents' names were. Everything else is fair game. Ask whatever the hell you want to. As far as the cameras, if you want to go around to the front to be able to, get some footage of the front, you can. However, I did tell you all at the beginning of this that people have passed out on my tours. This is the spot where it's actually relative to the story. So give me another minute of your time before I spread you guys out.
Okay.
Back in September, it was a little bit cooler than this night, I'll say that. And I take my group to the back Ivy wall where I normally take my groups. And the kid next to me literally goes white as a ghost. Yes, that pun was intended. And I have to pick him up by the armpit, like he's going to fall and hit his head on the ground. His boyfriend picks him up from the other side of him. We bring him to this, setting so he can sit down. I send the boyfriend over with a couple of dollars across the street to the vending machine to bring him some water. He comes back, the dude's feeling better. I then tell the story. It's important to know when I told it. They had no idea what was going on. I send everybody out to play with their devices, go have some fun, last hurrah. They pull me aside. I have to tell you something. What's going on? We are two transgender males, meaning I had two females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary on the tour. I'm a good writer, but I can't make this.
You can't, no,
that's... So,
that's
again,
crazy.
They are perfectly fine with me telling this story to y'all every single night, and I think they even left it in one of their reviews that their friend got sick. So it's kind of like, all right, at least they put it out there. But at the same token, this is stuff I can't make up, guys. This is why I put that heated warning at the beginning. Luckily, I didn't have to call the paramedics that night, but I've had to call paramedics in the past.
Wow.
Usually, psychics and mediums don't make it past the Pinckney Mansion site. The Pinckney Mansion site is usually hot with EMF activity and a lot of spirit box work. Unknowingly, that I had a psychic the first time somebody was actually on a tour as an actual psychic medium practicing, I gave them a spirit box. It was way too much for them to handle. I think I gave her partner an EMF meter, obviously a much lower tech at that time, but yeah, she dropped like a wet noodle. Almost instantly from the time we walked into this place. I've had a heart attack happen in there before. I've had people with their right leg to the point where it's almost immobilized, like where they can't walk, and that's relative to Thomas, who got shot in his left leg, because I had to look that up. Like, why do I have people with their right leg keep hurting when I need to see if it's relative to when Thomas got shot from the British, right, during the Battle of Camden. So again, lots of relative things have happened during my tours, but hopefully what we're not dealing with tonight is from any kind of paranormal activity. So again, we're going to have some fun here. We're going to spread out a little bit. EMF detectors, the closer we get to the bushes and these corners, the higher we're going to get, just because of obviously the electricity coming off of those wirings. But yeah, let's spread out. Cameraman, if you're going to be in the front, just make sure you're not in the way of other tours.
Okay.
That's the only thing I ask. Just kind of wait your
the
turn.
front here on the street.
So you can either jump over the wall there, or you can actually exit the lot and walk around.
Got it.
You can put your cameras right in there if you want to. Just don't drop them.
really
I won't be able to
can't
retrieve
walk.
them. But yeah, turn those things up, and then I'm going to hang out here. And
Does Isaac or Oracle mean anything?
Isaac's.
Isaac was just on the list. They switched over to
Are you
Oracle.
going?
Philadelphia Alley. Ralph Isaac.
All right, he was on here then.
Nice.
Okay, honey, go.
Yeah, I'm going to hang out here. It'll be fun. But yeah, I definitely want that list.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have something to drink? Are you feeling okay?
No, I
Because that gives you
Yeah, I'll let him.
The wonderful thing is,
I got somebody to said, who are you? I'm like, good.
so I get a lot of people that will email me.
Yeah, I knew. I looked it up. It just.
Run up behind you and say boo at the top of my lungs, right?
I'm sorry, what?
I want to run up behind you and boo you at the top of my lungs.
Because
You
I
might be
had
picking me off the
just
ground
trying
then.
to scare you.
You guys might have to carry me back.
Hillary, yes. The guillotine. Right? See it? Maybe. Yeah,
We're in front of the battery and
What
it
was
says
the name of
the
Calico
noise.
Jack's ship? What was the name of Calico Jack's ship? The noise?
No, it's from the battery.
I'm still
The
looking
boom.
at the Hillary. Trying to figure out what the heck that is. It looks like a guillotine to me.
What
I think
was
it's just
the
a torture
name of
device.
Calico
Oh,
Jack's
Put
ship?
him in the
That's nice.
put him in the town square.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
Well, somebody get smart and put a chair back there.
Let's take it easy for the pictures, I'm sure.
Right.
Oh, there's more there. Is that a house, Karen? That's a house, Karen. Yeah, that's somebody's house.
Can you imagine living there?
No.
Yes and no.
Here comes a tour.
3.3. 3.5.
Oh, this isn't good.
So 4 blocks down, that is by the harbor. By the harbor.
So this red lined and it said Demon, and then it switched to Randy.
Randy?
Randy. But you can see where it redlined.
Yeah. Yeah, I usually don't even
They're
pay
not
attention,
mine, yeah.
pay attention to those. That usually means just another word's coming up. I'm sure you noticed it growls and does all kinds of stupid shit. Again, it's meant to scare you.
We were sitting at the restaurant and we had it on, and some Mason came up. We were only a couple of blocks from where we started.
What restaurant?
I don't
East Bay
remember.
runs this way.
We were just north, or right across from the pavilion where all those sales are, because they dropped us off. The hotel dropped us off. Where's she at? She's got the receipt. Hey, Karen, what restaurant were we at? What restaurant did we have dinner at?
For dinner?
Yeah.
IHOP.
You have the receipt in your purse.
I was just curious because you said the word Mason came up.
It's 2 stories. The bartender told us she doesn't go to the second story when she closes. It's like all wood.
Well, I can.
There's a lot of restaurants around here that are. Every building down here has some claim upon things.
Going
Like,
on.
my wife and I are hopefully going to start doing round robins of all the hotels and actually do an investigation, because this all started with a podcast. That's how actually I got recruited out of my 6-figure job. Was somebody listened to my podcast that was starting a new tour company that didn't want licensed guides. So he wanted something different. So when I told you I started with just a few devices, I was like, let's see how it goes. Keep it nice and small. I was taking like 5 to 7 people out at a time. It worked out really well. And then I got away from him after I learned where I could from him. And the name Stories in the Cemetery was the name of the podcast first. But it was already mine. So, I mean, there was no hard feelings. He still helps me out. He's a historian.
Right. I don't know
So,
if this
I mean,
is
if I have a question about a certain location or something I'm trying to expand off to, Like he's always there to kind of help me out.
Yeah, that's
Give
it.
that back to you.
T-Bones Market Street.
Oh yeah. Okay, I can see that. You were also probably close to like Five Church Restaurant.
Probably.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What's interesting about that space is the Five Church Restaurant. If you notice on the front, the bricks actually spell out the Redeemer.
Oh, I'll have to look for that.
So the reason that is because Harriet Pinckney, I want to say that would be the niece of Eliza. So they always share the same names. She actually started that place as a church for the sailors coming in off the water, so they had somewhere to worship. That's why it's called the Redeemer. So again, it wasn't any specific faith; it was just somewhere to come and worship. But that's why it says that on the front. And the
Right.
Five Church Restaurant is kind of a high class, $100 a plate kind of restaurant. But yeah, it's gorgeous. I've seen pictures. I've never actually been inside.
What's it called again?
Five Church.
Five Church.
Lisa went there. She had all kinds of pictures.
Right next to the candy shop on the corner.
Right next to what?
The candy shop on the corner.
And what county in Ireland were you from, if you know?
All the photos. Yeah. And everybody I know last year, they were just shooting photos of that place.
So what terms have we heard? What have we got?
That would be a good question.
Yeah. I got free and calm, I'm telling you.
Free and calm.
Classic
Everything yours is recording. Carla, you got anything?
Not much.
Stephen hasn't been
But
talking.
anything at all? Nothing. Okay. Well,
Victory, and then I had Stephen, and then I asked me who I am. So I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want this.
I will tell you, Robert's word list, because he was running one very similar to the one we had, that Felicia has. He just has the downgraded version, as you guys all know, but the name Isaac showed up. What was the name of the doctor's dueling opponent? Ralph Isaacs. So I'm going to ask him for that list. He's going to email it to me so I can attach it to your analysis. I'll see what else is in there and kind of see if things match up a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Now,
So-
will you hear like the recordings that they had?
Oh.
You'll hear them. So if this was something that
Yep.
they just didn't
They
pick
just missed
up,
it.
okay.
Happens
Yeah.
every single night.
I'm
That's why I say
sure.
it's not an easy
I mean,
job.
I heard all kinds of things on hers. I pulled it out of my ear. I didn't want to hear anymore. You know?
You guys can go ahead and kill your videos. So let's get you the answers and we'll get this party wrapped up. What do you think?
Sounds good. This is awesome.
Picture I'm going to show you of Anne Bonny.